Alright, so now that we've successfully been able to register our user using Firebase authentication, that's not the only thing that we need to do in the registration process. So after the user has been authenticated successfully, we also need to go ahead and save some of the necessary information about the user to our Firebase database. Like for instance, we need to be able to save the full name, we need to save the phone number, and we also need to save the email address to our database as well. So that is also part of the registration process. So that's something that we need to do in this lesson. Also, while registering a user, an error can actually occur. It could be that there was a mistake in the email address, or maybe the email address doesn't exist at all, or maybe there's bad internet connectivity or something else, right? So we're going to start with checking the errors. This is where our registration takes place. So to be able to catch any possible error, that is in the o.create user with email and password method, at the end of this parenthesis, I'm going to go ahead and add .catch error. So I'm going to go ahead and define a new error object. So I'm going to have this as ex, and I'm going to have a method here. So this is where I can handle the errors. So what I want to do whenever an error occurs is to be able to display a message to tell the user exactly what happened. So to do that, I first of all need to say platform exception. I'm going to call this exception, or I'll leave it at this x. And I can now go ahead and say show snack bar equal to this x.message. So what I want to do is to display the exception message, and I'm going to make use of the snack bar to do that. So this will go ahead and handle our error for us. Now, like I said, the next thing we want to do if the registration is successful is to save user information to our Firebase database. So as soon as the user registration is successful, we're going to go ahead and save the user information to our Firebase database. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a new database reference. Alright, so we're going to have .child, and the part where we want to save this information is going to be users slash. So I'm going to go ahead and append the user ID to this particular part. So what this means is that every single user is going to have an ID, and the information of the user is going to saved against the ID on our database. So I'm going to have user.id. Alright, so this is what we want to do. Now the next thing we need to do will be to prepare the data that we want to save on the users table. So the data is going to be in form of a map. So I'm going to have map user map. This is going to be equal to, so I'm going to provide the full name, which I can get from fullname controller.test. I also need to save the email address, which I can get from email controller.test, and the phone number I can get it from the phone number controller.test. Now to save this information to the reference we just created, you can just say new user ref.set, and we're going to go ahead and pass our user map to it. Okay, so after doing all of this, the last thing we need to do will be to take the user to our main page. So here I'm going to have navigator dot push named and remove until, and the route name is going to be main page dot id. So our registration page is actually a stateless widget. So to resolve this issue, we can either pass the context as a parameter to this method, or we can simply just go ahead and convert this particular class to a stateful widget, and that will go ahead and resolve the issue. Now one more thing we need to do to finalize with our registration flow is to be able to check for internet connectivity. I mentioned that earlier on. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and install a connectivity plugin. If we go to pub.dev and search for connectivity, there is a plugin that helps us to do all of that. So this is the plugin. So I'm going to go ahead and install it. Okay, so I'm going to paste this here. So to install this package, I'm going to go ahead and click on pub.get. Okay, so this is successful. Now I'm going to return back to our registration page. So we're going to go back to our register button click, which is here. So this is the point that we need to check for network availability. So to do that, I need to first of all add an async signature to this method. So here I can now go ahead and save our connectivity result. This will be equal to await connectivity dot check connectivity. Now the next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and check our connectivity result. So we need to check if our connectivity result is not equal to mobile or Wi-Fi. It means that our application or our device is not connected to the internet. So I can say if connectivity result is not equal to connectivity result the mobile and connectivity result is not equal to connectivity result dot Wi-Fi. Okay, so if this condition is true, it means that we have no internet connectivity. So we can go ahead and display that no internet connectivity. And we can now go ahead and exit this method. Alright, so guys, we've been able to complete everything that we need to do regarding our registration. So to confirm that everything works, we're going to go ahead and run our application. So this time around, we expect our information to show in the authentication console, and also we expect our information to show up on our Firebase database. So let's go ahead and verify this. Okay, so our app is starting. Alright, so we have our registration page. So what I'm going to do will be to pull up our Firebase database. So I expect that at the end of the day, when our registration is successful, our user information is going to show up on the users database, on the users table rather, and all our information will be saved alongside the user ID. So let's go ahead and test that out. So I'm going to provide my name, all my details actually. Alright, so now that I've successfully provided the information, so I'm going to go ahead and click on register. Bam! So our registration is successful and you can see the user has appeared. And this is my user ID and this is all my information. So congratulations guys, we've been able to register our user successfully, and also we've been able to save the user information to our Firebase database. So this will be all for now. See you in the next class.